Those are 2,000 people who lost jobs during COVID. They had to stay at home. But then, if you look at the people that were ready to be externalized, if you look at that figure I've given you of 12,000, roughly, you realize that all companies had to, one, buy new tickets, do visa medical once again, do all these medical things. Many contracts were cancelled. They had to compensate these companies or agencies that we work with abroad. So it was a very serious hit, and the truth of the matter is that not everyone was able to pick themselves up. So the figures were quite big. And as far as I'm concerned, for example, if I take a case in point, in Jersey, I had to actually redo all these things. Remember now, there was also phasing out of the old passports to the new passports and all that stuff. So some countries had old passports. We had to redo that. But also medicals. We have medicals we call visa medical. And that is the comprehensive medical examination done before you're granted permission to leave the country. So yes, the figures were quite huge. And in monetary terms, you can put it around 500 million overall. That's how much we, like for me as in Jersey, I lost. So if you do an average, each company of that much, you realize that it was quite an amount of money, really.
So how is the reception like this time around, as this year started?
Right.
Have you had candidates just how is the procedure?
Yeah. Yes. Contrary to what we thought, actually, Sandra, right now, because of COVID, COVID also did a very interesting, brought a very interesting scenario. Because, of course, many people lost their jobs. So now the numbers, there is a very big surge in numbers of the people that are seeking employment out of the country. And yes, people are coming in. People are coming in, seeking opportunities here and there. And yes, we're trying to find their placement. But also, we lost some contracts. For example, as in Jersey, we lost two very good contracts. One with the U.S. Department of State under a subcontract, but also in the other fields. So we're trying to work hard to see how we can get new, good ones. But what I can tell is that the numbers are overwhelmingly high. Yeah. Right. Yes, truth of the matter, Sandra, is that yes, UDB did not consider our sector, and yes, we were very disappointed. Just like you mentioned, if a sector is able to bring in that much, I mean, it's only obvious that it needs to be given some attention. But also, if you look at the budget that was passed last year, you realize that $9.1 million was captured in that budget that comes from this sector on a monthly basis. So it shows you that this particular sector actually is doing something big for this country. So for me, my point is that government should take more interest in this particular sector and work with us to see how best we can get assisted. Because what we are doing right now is to empower Ugandans, empower these families. For example, Sandra, you look at 20 families, for example. If you've taken 20 Ugandans, those are 20 families. School fees are being able to be paid. If you look at the whole system, social system, you realize that children can go to school, yes. Families can be able to buy land, build houses. That means the trickle-down effect in this whole economy is quite big, and you can see that in the housing boom, the real estate boom you're seeing around the country. So I think we need to be given serious attention, and you see we're dealing with human beings. So rather than pointing fingers when certain things are not going okay, we need to keep working together to see how best we can improve this, because it's a serious remedy to the unemployment we have in the country at the moment. Truth of the matter is that Sandra is going to give us a bit of a hit here and there to see how best we can pick up ourselves. But I can assure you, in the next 3 to 4 years, we should be okay. We should be okay. Looking at the projections, we should be okay. And taking you back a bit, you mentioned about the new laws. Yes, the new laws were actually good. The new regulations from the Ministry of Labour were actually good. But there are some that had a few issues, and those complaints were put forward to government to look into them and see that we can get a middle ground of that. One, don't carry all your eggs in one basket. And truth of the matter, we've now done some diversification into other businesses, so that we're not caught offside. Remember last time when the airport was closed, for us we were literally closed. And that took almost 2 years. So just imagine, in those 2 years, what were we doing? How are we surviving? Secondly, we need to save as much as possible. Thirdly, let's invest into other sectors so that we're able to keep ourselves abreast with all kinds of conditions. So yes, those are the lessons learned, and anything is possible. Anything is possible, Sandra. Truth of the matter is that no one planned for COVID. It just came, hit us, and whoever was ready, they were able to fight through. Whoever wasn't ready, unfortunately, they had to. But what I can also tell you is that as you're doing business, we need to take risks that are calculated. Yeah. For example, if you've had a business partner who has advanced you some money, you should be taking on advances that are manageable. If you take in big advances and you have such a hit, in most cases, definitely you go bankrupt. And because of exactly that, we should be able to take calculated risks in business. Otherwise, you lose everything. I don't want to say that I'm here because I'm too clever or anything. No, but I take calculated risks, and that's why I was able to pull through. Yeah. What I'm sharing with other members and what I've picked up is to diversify, invest in other sectors, and sectors that, if you remember, we had what they called key sectors, and there was a name they were given in during the COVID period. I can't remember the name, but those were key sectors like essential workers. So now our minds should actually go that way. How can we become essential workers? And yes, you may have a debate, because I think our sector is also under essential workers, but if they were not recognized immediately, so it shows you that you might as well look into other core essential workers sectors. And I think that's the direction we need to take. I'll tell you something, Sandra. I'm doing this to empower Ugandans. In my small capacity as a private citizen, I think this is my small contribution to this country. I don't need to be an LC1 chairman to contribute. I think this is a contribution, and I do this because I'm passionate as far as transforming lives is concerned. And secondly, you need to realize that every little shilling that goes into people's pockets, that is crime reduction at some point. People are not going to think about stealing. That means the crime levels will be going down. Insecurity as well, because Sandra, I deploy security guards to Somalia, for example. So these are guys who are trained, who have worked in Iraq before, Afghanistan, and all these war-zone areas. So you just imagine, if they are broke and they are redundant, what do you think they're going to do if they're not well kept in check? So I think those are the three areas that are making me stick to this business. Every transformed life I look at, it gives me gratification. And I think it's very difficult to separate me from this business, Sandra. From this service, actually, not business, from this service. The very first thing would be that as the message has been going around, of course originating from him, prosperity for all. If we combine efforts and governments, which he hates, gives serious attention to this sector and all the support, this will play hugely in his message of prosperity for all. And it would be very simple. How do we put our heads together, make this safe, more productive, and very efficient? Simple. Those would be my words to him. I just want to appeal to Ugandans. to use the opportunities that we have. Yes, we have a challenge of unemployment that we all know as Ugandans, but there are remedies. And if we use the right channels and follow the right procedures, we should be able to at least, like the President said, this is a temporary measure. As we wait on the government to come up with other measures, let's embrace this. Labor externalization is the in thing. The world has now become a global village. That's why, for example, Sandra, when you go to the United Arab Emirates, you find British companies there, you find American companies there, you find all nationalities. And that's the whole point. So we're not an isolated case. So we need to embrace this and work together. Fight human trafficking. Anyone who wants to take you through improper channels, report them. Once we use proper channels and we do the right thing, this will help us grow our economy and the development of our country.